Welcome once again to Three Up and Three Down, where we will tackle Saturday's main college football DraftKings slate. For those of you new to the channel, this is where I give you my three up players, three players that I think you need to pay up for in this week's contest, and three down players, players that I believe will hit value even though they may be slightly underpriced. Taking a look back at last week, we had one absolute dud. But aside from that, the other five picks were very good. I ended up a little on the downside. It was a tough week to take. It's a second week in a row that a player missed the game with an injury that we knew nothing about. And that's the problem with college football DFS. It's not like the NFL where they have to have injury reports and you have actors and inactives before the game. It's very difficult, even though I know a lot of beat writers, since I was one of them myself. It's really difficult to try to pinpoint somebody at every game, and I don't know people at every game anymore. So it was Ulysses Bentley the fourth, a Mississippi running back, that even though I didn't mention him on our three up and three down picks, I did send a comment out before the Saturday noon games to let you guys know that I was kind of looking at him and thought that he was a little bit undervalued and was going to get touches, but unfortunately he did not even dress. But the rest of them were really good picks, led by my favorite weekly pick, it seems, Texas Tech running back Taj Brooks, who had almost or over 59 fantasy points last week. So here we go. Hopefully, you guys are doing well so far this year. I know I am. Hopefully, I've helped you win a little bit of money. This is going to be the last full week of games. Next week, we get into the conference championship games. I'm not exactly sure when I am going to post, but I will be posting through the playoffs when we have contests that pay well and are a decent amount of games in it. So if you want to stay aware of that, please hit like and subscribe, hit the little bell, and that way you'll get notified when I post my next video. But now, without any more delay, we are going to go to the three up portion of our program. And we are going to start off with quarterback Garrett Green of West Virginia. And it is the second time in 3 weeks that I've taken him. I'm going back to the dual threat quarterback. He is playing Texas Tech, and the cost is 7,600, which is really on the middle range of quarterbacks. So I'm putting him on the three upside because I do have a cheaper quarterback on the three downside. This game has the second highest implied total on the board, and the line is only 3. That means it could be a back and forth shootout. These are two of the worst pass defenses in the country, and Texas Tech is the worst of the 24 teams in this contest. Next on the three upside, we're going to go with running back Cam Skattebo from Arizona State. They are playing Arizona, their rival, and he is 10,100. He is a great story. Barely a 3-star recruit. Some had him as a 2-star coming out of high school, and he's turned himself into one of the best runners in the country. And how can you not like a runner whose last name is Skattebo? I just like saying that. He doesn't have great speed. Maybe 4.6, 4.5, 5.40. He's only 5'11, 210 pounds, but he's a powerful runner with incredibly shifty moves between the tackles. He's rushed for over 1,200 yards and has scored 16 touchdowns while being extremely involved in the passing game, having caught at least 3 passes in 1 of 11 games. But what really sold me is Arizona has the worst run defense on the slate. When you get a great runner against an awful run defense, it's difficult not to go with them. And finally, on the three upside, we are going to go with running back Devin Neal of Kansas. Kansas plays Baylor this week, and Neal is 8,700. He has steadily improved all season, and some consider him now the best running back prospect ahead of the 2025 NFL Draft. He is coming up an absolute monster game last week with 287 total yards and 4 scores. But I'm not going off that. He has been extremely consistent all year. scoring a touchdown in 8 straight games. This should be another high-scoring game, which should suit Neil just fine. He has at least 21 fantasy points in 5 straight games. And now we're going to go to the 3 down section. And I'm going to go to Texas Tech. And yes, it's Touch. No, it's not Touch Brooks. He would be on the 3 upside. It's really tough staying away from Tosh Brooks. But I'm going to go with his teammate, quarterback Baron Morton of Texas Tech, which again plays West Virginia. Morton is only 6,400. I mentioned before, both pass defenses in this game are horrible. Texas Tech is the worst as far as yards, and West Virginia the worst in yards per attempt. Now, I'm not a huge Morton fan as a DFS player or as a regular quarterback to begin with. He's not very mobile and tends to make some silly throws. He had 14 interceptions in his first 5 games this year. While he hasn't completely eliminated those, he's certainly cut down on them. And he's coming off a 366-yard effort against Oklahoma State, the first time he surpassed 300 yards since the first 2 weeks of the season. The bottom line is I'm recommending him because West Virginia struggles so badly in coverage. You could even match him up with Josh Kelly, the #1 receiver at 7,200. Although I may consider taking the discount and going with our second receiver, Hudson Clement at 4,800, although that's riskier. And if you go with Tosh Brooks, I wouldn't blame you. He is a good pick every week. Next on the 3 down session, we are going to go with wide receiver Jackson Meeks of Syracuse. Syracuse plays Miami, and he is 5,700. This is the highest implied total on the board, but Miami's a 10.5-point favorite. If Syracuse falls behind, that means they'll throw more than usual, and they usually throw a lot. Miami's defense is by far its weak point. Meeks can exploit this no matter what type of game it is. He has at least 5 catches in 7 of his last 8 games. And finally, on the 3 down side, we're going to go with wide receiver Cam Coleman of Auburn. And Auburn plays in the Iron Bowl against Alabama. Coleman is only 3,900. I always try to throw a pick that could be a little bit risky. And this is kind of a recency bias pick, but not totally. I think he's a great player. The 2 freshman was a highly touted 5-star recruit who did very little in the first 8 games of his collegiate career. But then came the last 2 games. 15 catches, 228 yards, and 5 touchdowns. If they keep targeting him like that at 3,900, he's a steal. Hopefully he does not regress. Alabama does have a decent pass defense. However, I get a feeling Coleman will want to shine against the Crimson Tide's own freshman receiver and Ryan Williams. Once again, I thank you for coming to the show, 3 up and 3 down, and hopefully you guys win some money. Again, if you have any lineup questions before 11 o'clock on Saturday, please send me a comment. I will try to reply to all of them as long as it's before 11:15 in the morning, the last 45 minutes I take to double check all my teams. And once again, if this is our last for sure show on a Saturday, we'll take a look at what kind of games DraftKings and even FanDuel has as we get into Championship Saturday next week, and then obviously the bowl games. So if you want to be notified of when my next video will be, please hit like, subscribe, hit the little bell. And once again, I hope you win a lot of money. This is Sweet Lou. Take care.